Okay, everyone, you can use the tools or you can let the tools use you. Hi, everyone. My name is Melinda Van Fleet. I'm an intuitive and energetic business and leadership mentor, and welcome to my video. Yes, tools. What is a super popular tool that is all the buzz right now? AI, and especially Chat GPT. And what's a tool that we all have access to? But I can bet you there's a very small amount of you who are actually using that tool. Can you guess? Your intuition. Now, I am on LinkedIn. It is one of the platforms that I'm on regularly. If you and I are connected on LinkedIn and we are friends, connections, I'm very grateful for that. In that, if you are on LinkedIn, you are likely aware of a new thing that has been popping up for the past couple months, maybe, I don't know an exact time frame, where it's adding your perspective. And in your feed, you will see other connections you may have that have added their perspective to a certain question that LinkedIn poses, right? I raise my hand high that I have been one of those people that have been adding my perspective on LinkedIn. And I read other people's perspectives and like them, right? So I take part in the party. I'm not going to say I don't take part in the party. I definitely take part in the party. What dawned on me this week was that it is such a game with LinkedIn. There is motivation behind this. And what is that? To get your data. To get your data. It's a tool to get your data, people. Just like ChatGPT. It's not free because Google feels like being generous. It's free because they want your data. They want your brain. They want to know what you think. So then they can create more things, whether that's robots, whether that's something else. I don't really know. But think about it. Now, as you listen to this video, I want you to realize that I'm a very balanced person. My husband and I have been bloggers for years. My husband has a very successful affiliate blog. We have used Jasper for years, but we do not use AI to write content, ever. We use our brains and our flow, guidance, intuition, however you want to bucket it. But it's nice to have AI tools to supplement for keywords. If you're feeling kind of stuck, kind of want to see some different ideas, maybe you're thinking you might have forgotten something, you want a different title. I use Java sometimes for just title ideas, like to kind of see, oh, what's going to be a good title for an email blast or YouTube, really, and just layer in some things. But we do not let that tool use us. So what happened yesterday that I think is so funny, and I want to share on a couple different levels, is a perspective question that popped up into my LinkedIn. And I'm going to read it. I have my computer up in front of me. And the perspective question on LinkedIn is, what are the best ways to keep negotiations from being confrontational? Great question. When I started to read all the responses were very 3D, very textbook, shit you can find in any personal development, self-help book that hardly anyone probably really uses, let's be honest, because in the moment, our humanness takes over. And one of the things that LinkedIn is really smart about doing is giving you some prompt ideas as a way to answer. Like, look at it this way, or what about this? Like, kind of giving you some questions. So again, if you're using those questions, you're feeding the tool. You are letting the tool run the show at the end of the day, right? You're giving the tool the information for free, really. And if you're a premium member, you're actually paying to then give them information. It's really fucked up if you think about that, right? And I'm premium, so I do think about those things. So how did I answer this question? And then what's the story behind my answer? So I'm going to read it. When I think back to hard situations we, and that's my husband and I, have had to deal with in our business, Good Karma Sportfishing and Coaching, we were grounded in what was the breaking point. Like playing poker. When do you fold? If your nervous system is grounded in that ahead of time, it takes out the emotional piece, or at least lessens it. Then realizing and knowing that everything is as it should be or happens for a reason is the icing. So you can give all this 3D talk that you may have read in a self-help book, and quite frankly, no one does it in the moment. Let's be real, people. Or you can work on changing yourself to be emotionally ready to handle anything when it occurs. That is the way. That is the way. You have to do the work ahead of time, all the time, on yourself. Not just wait for something to happen, because that is where the explosions happen, right? So I want to share this story that happened for us, my husband and I, prior to 2018, because 2018 is when our business really exploded, which I'll get to as part of this story. But my husband and I used to, as a subset of Good Karma Sportfishing, before we were in coaching, we sold a product called Jimmy Jigs. And we sold it, it's a lure, and we worked our asses off on it. I was the road rep for it. I handled all the procurement, all the paperwork, paying the taxes. You have to pay excise taxes on anything fishing or hunting. You probably don't know that, but yes, you do. There's a special little tax out there. So I did all the proper paperwork, all the things, trademark, you name it, I did it. We had a website. My husband built the website. My husband was in charge of actually using the product, getting data, getting footage, doing the posting on Instagram, building the Instagram audience, working with influencers. I worked door to door, knocking on every single bait and tackle shop in the state of Florida. We had business internationally in Australia, Dubai, Egypt, even like some countries like Sweden. Like, it was amazing. We had stores in the Bahamas. We worked our asses off on this. And I knew, because my background is being a planner with retailers, that in order to be in the black on this business, it had to be 60% from internet sales, where we could make more margin, and 40% or lower from wholesale, which was me selling door to door to these stores, or us shipping to clients in other countries, or even other parts of the United States. I think we had a customer in North Carolina. So I knew this because I'm a former financial planner with large retailers like Target, Victoria's Secret. I was a buyer. And so we marched to that. We managed the numbers every single month. We marched to that. My husband created the website from scratch. Our URL was jimmyjigsusa.com. So what happens one day when I'm on the road as a sales rep is my husband gets a call from Jimmy, the actual man who makes the jigs in Mexico. And he realized when he was talking to Jimmy that Jimmy had created a website that not only completely copied our website, was also in English versus Spanish, and said, we will ship anywhere in the world. So I got on the phone with Jimmy, because normally I was the one who did the majority of the communication, and was like, we need to change this. Like, you can't be competing against us. Like, that's just not going to work. So after going back and forth and trying to negotiate with him, he wouldn't budge. And quite frankly, I wasn't going to budge. So I knew where our cards were, and that he had to say certain countries he wasn't going to budge, because that would be competing against us. If he didn't, he had to change around his website, which quite frankly was completely plagiarized off of our website. And he had the better URL, because it was just jimmyjigs.com versus ours was jimmyjigsusa.com. So ours was a little more challenging for people to remember. And again, it was all in English. And he's in Mexico. And he wouldn't budge. So you know what I did? I folded on that very same phone call. When he said, well, I'll have to think about these things, I said, you know what? I'm going to think about this for 1 second. If you don't change your mind, we're done. And I shut it down. I have absolutely no regrets. What ended up happening after I shut it down was in a very short time, about a year and a half, our sport fishing business completely took off. Ryan started getting booked every single day. He was on the cover of Florida Sportsman. His TripAdvisor reviews went through the roof, perfect stars. We got our new website up. He launched his podcast in August of 2018, which is extremely successful. And we were able to get some extra functions done on our boats that just added to the amazing, enjoyable experience that my husband's able to provide for his fishing charter clients. Because I didn't waver in my energy. I didn't negotiate with him after him basically saying he couldn't come to the table with anything. He didn't hold the cards. We held the cards. But I was emotionally ready for that, and so was my husband. We were planful. We did the work ahead of time, which is what my response on LinkedIn is saying. Do the work ahead of time. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to remember what you read in a self-help book, blah, 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 3D jargon. You have to do the internal work. You have to do the work to know your numbers and know what's going on. It doesn't matter if you researched the other person. I saw that response like a gazillion times. Research the other person. What do you want? You're the one that holds the energy. You bring the energy to the room. You bring the energy to the room. You do that. You set the tone. And when you trust and know that things work out in your favor as it should happen, it all happens for a reason, these are lessons, then the next best thing is going to happen for you in your business. And that's exactly what happened. The next best thing happened. Our main business took off. And then we learned from that, and then we added coaching and consulting in 2020. So all of these things have a trajectory, but if I would have sat in the mud in I need to negotiate with him, blah, 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 we would not be where we are, and we would not have this lesson to share, which is even more important. And what's really funny when I started thinking about this, because my intuition is just on fire, I've so backed off of so much distractions and content, too many checking of my emails. I edited a lot of that out of my life in the past couple weeks. I've edited YouTubers, just unsubscribed. And now it's like firing on even more synapses than was before. And what came through was that I used to say that I regretted, the only regret I had was that we didn't take our Instagram account and just change the name from Jimmy Jigs to Good Karma Sport Fishing, because at the time, Ryan didn't have an Instagram account. So I always thought that was a hindsight, like a miss, and that we should have just changed that and maybe dealt with some followers being confused or some followers like unfollowing, but at least we had like a foundation and a base. That was my thought. But honestly, no. It's not my thought anymore. Why? Because that energy would have been completely different than the energy of our sport fishing business. The energy of the frustration of working with this supplier and what went down and all the things that led up to that I knew that if he wasn't gonna come to the table with fixing this and getting on board with being a good partner, how much money we spent, how many times I ran to Wells Fargo every other week to do a wire transfer for him, the moaning about this and that when his wife didn't even work and his kids were in private school. I could go on. It was crazy. So there was a lot leading up to that final point where I already had my line in the sand. The energy of that old Instagram account wouldn't have been a good thing. It needed to go. So sometimes you have to burn it to the ground, and just trust and use that knowledge that you have from that former business to start fresh, and use it. Like, we're all here for the journey. We're all here for the lessons. And sometimes it sucks. Yeah. I mean, the amount of money that we lost because we never got to that stage of profitability, because we never could get that level of internet sales to exceed the level of the wholesale sales. So yeah, it was a loss. It was a loss, 1.5 years loss. Money, time. But you know what? We learned a shitload of lessons. For sure. And you know what? We made some great relationships that we still have to this day, and we're very grateful for. So that's priceless to Ryan and I. That's completely priceless. And sharing this lesson to help someone else out there, not only about AI, not only about intuition, but then also some business lessons, is also priceless. So I hope you like this video. If you're interested in working together, my website is melindavanfleet.com. Our sport fishing and coaching is goodkarmasportfishing.com. My husband is Captain Ryan Van Fleet. He is amazing. He is one of the greats, and he has a private fishing club that is incredible. If you are a man out there that's a recreational fisherman, like angler, and you're interested in being part of his private club, it's incredible. We have courses. And also within my world, I'm always offering some type of unique specials. I have private groups, I have one-on-one sessions, as well as private coaching, mentoring, and consulting. So just reach out and connect, and would love to hear your comments in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.